So let's get right into it. First up, Miss Patrice Francois,
Hello.
a future star in the making right here. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
And you brought the cups?
Of course.
We're all set here?
You see? Miss Francois.
So tell us about you. You're funny, you take chances, you have great energy. Where does this all come from? Where does this bolt of talent come from?
Okay, wait. You missed the part where I'm beautiful and
Beautiful.
okay, and intelligent.
And you improvise.
Okay. I'm just making sure we get that out there. Well, the whole thing is life is too serious sometimes, and everyone takes things so seriously. To me, the whole thing is you should laugh at yourself, laugh at other people. It's not that serious.
Sure. And why did you choose to do a show about relationships? Because that's what.
Well, let me tell you. You see, men. That's a whole story by itself. Yes, you too, okay? Because men is the reason I'm doing this show. I mean, you see how amazing and beautiful I am. Why it is that I'm still single? Make sure they hear that I'm single, okay? I'm not looking for a boyfriend or a man. I'm looking for a husband, okay? So it's because of that. You go into relationship after relationship, and then, of course, they mess up because it's not me, obviously, because I have a great personality, right?
Of course, yes.
And because of the failed relationship on their part, that's what bring me to the show. And you know when you break up and you're crying and you don't want to eat and you're stressed out and you're calling your girlfriends that are going to give you bad information, I don't want to focus on that. To me, I turn it into something where we can laugh about, not feel so sorry for yourself and take that energy and put it somewhere else. So that's how the whole show started, especially because of my last breakup.
So what's your background? Do you have experience doing TV, or was this your first show? And how did you come to us here at BronxNet? Tell us the whole thing.
So the first thing, I have no real experience in TV. I have nothing. Most of the things, how it happened is I'm part of Toastmaster International, where it has clubs where people, could speak and you get leadership skills and stuff. So I'm part of a club called Emerging Speakers of Elmont in Long Island. So sometime I used to go there, and in 2014 or so I joined, but I was too scared. I used to shake every time I had to do any kind of speech. And 2016, even though in a short space of time, I ended up winning the humorous competition in all of New York, Long Island, Westchester. So
Nice.
that was a shock. And that speech was basically, I need a man, but it was more focused on Steve Harvey can't find me a man, because if he can't find you a man, who's going to find you a man?
Right.
And the following year in 2017, I made it into a one-woman show, a 45 minutes off Broadway. And I took that and I said, why not make a whole TV show? But
Nice.
it's so funny. It's like my friend, his name is Sherman Brown, he actually comes here and he does some interviews, and he's the one that told me all about it.
Okay.
And as soon as I came, I saw everything. I was like, I can't do no half-an-hour show. I don't have any material.
Right.
I just hooked up with my friend because she went through a bad breakup. And I said, you want to come do something? It's just for they just want us to do something to see if we could do anything for class. And she came to talk about how her husband had the girl in the bathroom hiding, and it was a good episode, right? And lo and behold, it ended up being the pilot for the first show, and people loved it. People like a little gossip.
Of course.
So
Of
that's
course.
that's how it all started.
Beautiful. And how did you actually hook up with BronxNet? How did that develop?
So my friend Sherman Brown, he was telling me about I was feeling kind of down in February. Something you go through life, you're like, this is it, the work and home, this is pathetic. So I was like, I feel like I'm not sure what I want to do in life right now. And he's like, what you want to do? I'm like, maybe I should just have a TV show. But I say crazy stuff every time. People say I'm a little loopy, but whatever. No, that's not the reason I can't keep a man. Not the reason at all.
No.
Exactly. So he was telling me, I was saying, I want to do a TV show. I'm like, you heard of Carol Burnett? And he goes, no. I'm like, darn it. Am I that old? But I love Carol Burnett, I love Oprah, and I love Steve Harvey. So Carol Burnett tells stories, Oprah gives the serious talk, and Steve Harvey is funny. So I said, I want to do a TV show. And he's like, oh, BronxNet does this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I'll check it out. And that's all it was, just someone saying one thing. I always say it's one sentence or one person that could change your entire future and your direction of where you were going. So thank you, Sherman Brown.
Beautiful. So let's take a quick look at a clip from Mss Francois and Mss Francois Show, which airs Thursday nights at 9:30 on Optimum 68 and Fios 34. Let's take a look.
You all get something, you all in a serious love relationship, you all get hurt, right? And as soon as you all get hurt, that one particular time, it's like you all can't even move on.
No.
Go
That's
ahead.
not every man. That's a very biased blanket statement.
Did I not say I'm not biased
Yeah. Well,
whatsoever?
anyway, that's a very blanket statement. Yes, we come across people, men as well as women, who are jaded, and that's not always the case. For myself, I'm very fortunate not to be jaded. I can be hurt. I can lick my wounds. They heal. We move on, and I can love.
Just saw a clip from the Mss Francois Show on Emerging Media Makers. It's Bernardo. I'm here with the producer and host of the Mss Francois Show, Mss Francois, Patrice Francois. And why is it that, okay, so in the first episode, you focused more on female empowerment, it seemed like, right?
Yes.
And in episode number 2, which we just saw a clip from, it was you had 2 male guests. Was that on purpose to like balance it off? So like the first episode was more one way and then you went back the other way?
I'll be honest. I'm very much biased. I'm all for us women. As far as I'm concerned, we're right. But you know, sometimes it's good to mix it up a bit. So one of the guys that came, he was like, "Oh, why don't you have some guys on your show?" I'm like, "Fine, come up with a topic, and I'll let you come on the show." So he said, "You like men hurt too." So I'm like, "Okay, fine, come and talk about how you're hurting after you hurt everybody else, and then you want to act like you get hurt once." So that's how I end up having guys on the show, which I'll have now. And again, like you said, just to mix it up because it gives that, you know, extra spice. And I am Trinidadian,
Nice.
so that's extra spice.
Indeed. And then why is it MSS in capital letters as opposed to just Miss?
Multi-talented, super sexy.
Ah.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that. That's very cool.
I know, because everyone asks me that, and I get to say it, and then they go, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yep."
So
Multi-talented,
Talented,
super sexy.
super sexy. Very nice. Very nice. So what life experiences? Because you have a very, very, very unique take on everything, right? And on relationships. And you definitely are not afraid to say what you think. And you're not afraid to say that, you know, men are men are whatever. Well, I'm not going to bash men. But what specific experiences do you have or have you had in your life that inform the way you produce a show and the way you host a show?
Okay, so a lot of time growing up, people say I was kind of cuckoo or I should be a cartoon character. And honestly, that's who I am. I could never stay serious for too long. Even when I try, and the few times I do try, everyone thinks I'm sick or they want to comfort me. And I mean, I'm a human being, but I just tend to be always bubbly. I don't even know why. Mind you, the only reason I came on the show, I thought you wasn't married, but now I see a ring, so my goodness.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a mixture of different things.
And the fact that you mix humor and relatable topics about relationships, is that the plan? Is that what we're going to see more of in future shows? Like, is that the plan of attack for the show? Or are you going to mix it up in the future maybe and talk about something else?
So this is how I wanted it, right? Most of the time, 2 things get people to watch. Is either you make them laugh or you make them cry. So that's what I believe. That's my perspective on things. So the first 5 minutes of the show is always I have a guest or a comedic, some sketch or anything for about 5 minutes. Right. So once people see that, they're like, "Oh, this is kind of funny. Let me see what she wants to talk about." And then I switch it into a little serious talk. But even no matter what it is, I try to have a slight, you know, humor in there because that keeps people watching. If you start to go into a long, boring story and why, Lord, no, after a while, people are just not going to look on. But one thing I'm trying to switch it up with, to me, if you think about it, everything is a relationship. So one of my episodes I recently taped, I had like a rapper on, and I was, you know, people's like, "A rapper, how does that pertain to relationship?" But I have him perform his song. His song has to be referenced to some kind of relationship, which he did have something like that. And when I interviewed him, it was about him and different relationships that he had. Because being a rapper in the music industry, you know, different women, different people you end up, you know, dealing with. So everything, no matter what, is going to come back to a relationship. So I make that swing on everything.
And you mentioned you have comedians on, which I've seen on the show.
Yeah.
Where do you find them? Are they like local comedians?
Thank
from
God
the
for
Bronx?
Toastmasters.
Oh, okay.
Because Toastmasters, technically, that's the reason it all started off. And Nancy Garlick, she is the president right now. She's the one that founded Emerging Speakers at Almond. And she's the reason that I even started in that particular Toastmasters. And that was, one of them was her husband. And like everybody so far that basically been on has been part of Toastmasters. Not even my club, but different clubs. Like recently I taped an episode that hasn't aired yet. Brian Robinson, he had a book called How to Meet Women on the Subway. And he was a winner a few years ago on a humorous speech having to do with Toastmasters. So I have to thank Toastmasters for that.
Very nice. So you have long comedy sketches in your show, real life testimonials, improvisation, stand-up comedy. Is this is set in stone? Are you open to maybe changing it up, or do you think this is working?
This is
I
working.
love the show personally. But.
I love it too. My thing is, this is me. At the end of the day, I'm doing me. I'm not trying to be Oprah, even though I love Oprah. I'm not trying to be Steve Harvey. I just want to be me. Because one of the episodes that I had taped, I tried to be all like over proper. I'm like, hi, welcome to the Mss Francois Show. And someone whispered in my ear and said, you're not professional. Why are you trying to pretend to be professional? I'm like, that is true. I'm not. I just want to be me. I just want to relax, just have a conversation, you know. And even when I have guests on the show, sometimes I send them questions what I may ask. But the number one thing I tell everyone, my brain doesn't reach my mouth in time, so I have no cap. So I don't know what I might say, but everything is still a conversation. So I whatever I'm doing right now, I like what I'm doing. As time progresses, things always change, new things come, so we'll see how that works. Maybe I'll have you as a guest sometime.
Hey, I would love to come on as a guest, but no male bashing. No. So real quick, what is your take on the current state of comedy on TV?
Okay, so one thing I must say with my show, I don't like cursing, all right? So I try not to do any of the cursing thing. To me, the only problem with comedy right now, everyone is very scared of comedy, because no matter what you say, sometimes it's some political aspect of it. Sometimes it could be like people too scared to make jokes now. You can't make jokes about Me Too movement. Everything is so serious now. So sometimes it's so hard for new comics coming out, because you have to worry about people going, oh my God, that was wrong for him to say. One minute you could have 60,000 followers, next minute everyone runs away from you. So people have to still be conscious of what you're making fun of. But like I say, I try to keep it with relationships. The relationship is kind of, you know, it's broad in its own way, but it's, you know, things that's okay and could carry over to most people, especially females.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Emerging Media Makers, Patrice Francois. This is it right here. The Mss Francois Show, Thursday nights, 9:30, Optimum 68 and Files 34. Optimum 68, which is in HD now, by the way, here on BronxNet. Coming up next, James Zeiss from Section 420 Talking Yankees. It's Emerging Media Makers on BronxNet.